Hey everybody, a video here for you. Now, a few days ago, or a week or so ago, I saw a post on Google+, this one right here. I'll leave a link to that below. But it had a link to this article here on Graham Hancock's website, and it's a letter to professors, and it says, striking new geological evidence for the worldwide flood roughly 12,800 years ago. And that is something, if you follow Graham Hancock's work, that is something that he talks about a lot in his new book, Magicians of the Gods. And I just thought this was an excellent article on possibly this ancient cataclysm, which I think we are just starting to get our grips on. And Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock's work has definitely helped in that area. Excellent work when those two combine their knowledge. But this just goes over a possibility of an ancient flood and evidence that 12,800 years ago something really bad happened on the earth. And it goes over something that I have looked into before, and I'm sure you, if you watch my videos for a while, you've seen a few videos where I dive underwater. But this goes over some ancient riverways off the coast and geological evidence that these were formed when that land was above water. And I guess there's a little bit of controversy, but when you look at these features on Google Earth underwater, it is very evident that these were carved by ancient water coming off the continent and flowing off the steep old continental shelf where the ancient coastline used to be. But I just find this article absolutely fascinating. Now, I have looked into some canyons offshore, and I just want to take you over to Google Earth and show you some things that I just wanted to share real quick. And when I listen to Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson's videos, when they're in the Scablands of Eastern Washington and showing the geological evidence of this ancient flood, I just want to compare what they found to some things I have found offshore and underwater. And I'm going to take you over to Google Earth right now. Here we are on Google Earth now, and this area up in this part of the screen is where Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson investigated this ancient outburst flood, probably when a comet hit the ice pack. But I just want to take you in here, and this is the Columbia River where it flows out from the present coastline. And obviously the Columbia River in that area probably was formed greatly by this event of 12,800 years ago. But Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, one thing they talked about was these dry waterfalls that are in the Scablands of Eastern Washington. And they are formed, or you can tell, by they leave a classic horseshoe type signature. And this is exactly what we have in this offshore canyon here. You see the classic horseshoe shape of this ancient waterfall here. And simply because the water flowing in the middle of the stream erodes away the land a lot faster than at the sides. And these cliffs obviously are a lot higher than in the middle. This is a waterfall formed at some time in the ancient past. And I just want to do a little measuring here. This total is about maybe, let's see, about 2.75 miles, 2.5 miles, something like that across. And I just want to show you what the size of Niagara Falls, one of the most famous waterfalls in the world, I just want to show you how big that would be in comparison. And Niagara Falls is about that big wide. That's how big Niagara Falls is in comparison to this ancient, massive, huge waterfall off the coast of Oregon and Washington. I just thought I would show you that. Now I wanted to show you this real quick. This is Horseshoe Bend in the Grand Canyon, a pretty famous place. And I just wanted to measure this feature. It is about, not quite 3/4 of a mile across. So still, that is a huge feature carved in the Grand Canyon and creating one of the most picturesque spots in the Grand Canyon. Now I just want to jump over to a place off the coast of California, near Carmel, California. Now we're over here on Google Earth, and I'm going to take you down about 50 miles offshore of the present coast in California. And this is called the Shepherd Meander. And this underwater feature, obviously carved by an ancient riverway or an outpouring of water towards the coast. But here you see the riverway came down this way and made a kind of a horseshoe type bend in the river. And it's a huge feature, and I just want to measure it real quick. Now this is total about 4.35 miles across, this horseshoe feature, and that place up at the Grand Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, that whole scene is about that big. As far as that yellow line goes, that is that whole Horseshoe Bend at the Grand Canyon. That is how big it is compared to this feature. And I think this is pretty fascinating. An ancient riverway off the coast, and that's leaving some of the same features that we see in the Grand Canyon. But now I'm going to jump over to another spot here for you. Now, if this area here, right in the middle, was ground zero for something happening, a comet impact maybe, that caused all this water, this outburst that carved the Scablands of Washington, I think the offshore, the coast here, is a prime place to look for those geological markers of massive amounts of water going across what was above sea level then. And this is a place where you find a lot of those horseshoe type signatures of these ancient waterfalls, such as this one right here. But this is a place you can explore for yourself. And if you're familiar with Randall Carlson's work, these geological features that he talks about in the Scablands are evident underwater, offshore, on what would have been the ancient coastline many thousands of years ago. What caused all this water to travel across the Earth's surface and empty out into the oceans? Well, Randall Carlson's work has proved that something hit the Earth about 12,800 years ago, and if it hit the ice sheet, I don't even think we can imagine the outburst of water and what that actually would have caused. And also another possibility is an impact from the same comet. It was a fragmented comet that hit the Earth, and if part of that hit out into the ocean, there could have been a tsunami all over the west coast of the United States, and I don't think we can even get a grips on how much water would come across the coastline if a comet coming in at 70,000 miles an hour hit out into the ocean, and all that water going up on the surface and over the Earth. It could have traveled hundreds of maybe, who knows how far inland, and then that all has to drain back out. And is that what carved these ancient canyons? Water retreating after a tsunami? That is just another thing we have to look into. But this is something you can look into for yourself. I will leave a lot of links below. I just think this is fascinating. This is some underwater evidence of some ancient riverways carved when that land was above sea level. Hope you thought this was interesting. You have a nice day.